Action. I didn't expect to become a force inside a world cinema in 2 movies. In the case of Spike Lee, I think he actually resents that I made such a black movie. It's like people are saying, what's he doing? What's going on? You know, it's like, well, flip on your television show.
Absolutely, yes.
Film 98, when you absolutely, positively gotta thrill every movie lover in the room, except no substitute.
The man's looking for sympathy and a shoulder to cry on. Whether you should give him any is another matter. The Larry Sanders Show over on BBC 2 in 5 minutes. Here on BBC One, in the week of his 65th birthday, Michael Caine with the comedy drama that fixed him forever as the sharp-suited, happy-go-lucky womaniser, Alfie. Take the dreams of a psychic, a master criminal presumed dead, and Roger Moore caught up in a game of cat and mouse, and that's tomorrow's late-night thriller here on BBC One at 1:45.
Sex.
What was that for?
Haven't you ever heard of foreplay?
Lies.
Will you listen to me for a change?
Sometimes people force you into telling lies.
And jealous wives.
All I want is to play football occasionally. I don't want my husband looking over me, telling me what to do.
I know what this is about. You don't want me near those women, and that's the bottom line. I'll take that manager's job up and still on nothing.
Playing the Field, a Sunday at 9:05 on BBC One.
Those are calls for a celebration, eh? Another pint of lager, John?
No other interviewer is quite so honest.
I am 54. I'm 75.
And I'm telling.
So bold.
Were you nuts or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
So hair-raising.
Never judge a book by its cover. At least read a few chapters.
So babelicious.
I should have worn heels. I knew it. Oh, what a guy. You know, I didn't really have respect until this moment.
Ruby Wax Meets kicks off with the Spice Girls.
Didn't like you upstaging me at the end. Could I just have a word with you?
Sunday at 7:30 on BBC One.
Keeping you up to date with world events as they happen. BBC News 24 in a couple of minutes. First on BBC One, a look ahead to the weather prospects with Peter Cockroft.
Hello again. The weather is turning quite nasty now over the far north of the British Isles. Strong to gale force winds coupled with some heavy snowfall bringing blizzards during tonight and tomorrow to the Shetland Islands, and some of that rather severe winter weather could get down onto the northern mainland of Scotland as well. Of course, we'll keep you updated on any subsequent severe weather warnings we're likely to issue. Now you can see that this air is coming right the way down from the Arctic. It's certainly going to be a bitterly cold day. But today, although we had lots of echoes on the weather radar, relatively mild southerly winds, so most of that was actually falling as rain. The change of 180 degrees is already underway, and by tomorrow we'll have these very strong, bitterly cold northwesterly winds blowing right the way across the British Isles. Now, those sorts of values are what your thermometer might measure in the garden, but if you take into the chilling effect of the wind, well, it'll feel more like temperatures are actually very close to or below zero right the way across the British Isles. A particularly bitter wind up there in Shetland. The wind chill temperatures there around about -15 Celsius. Now, the wet weather is moving out of the way. We already know that we've got that wintry weather moving into the far north, but there could be a little bit of sleet and snow further south as another band of wet weather gathers itself, and as that comes down off the Pennines, we could see a little bit of sleet and snow at quite low levels across the East Midlands into Lincolnshire, East Anglia and South East England by morning. Now, in between, we've got these clear skies, and there is likely to be some frost there, so there could be some ice on the roads to contend with as well during the rush hour. Eventually, that wetter weather will clear away from that southeastern corner of Britain, and then really it's brighter skies and blustery wintry showers for all of us, and some of those wintry showers could get as far south as the West Country moors during tomorrow, and more of that severe winter weather to come in the far north of the British Isles. More stories of winter weather, this time a lot further south in the northern Adriatic. 20 centimetres of snow lying on the ground on Tuesday morning. A little bit further south in Dubrovnik, a strong northerly Bora wind gusting up to 80 miles an hour, giving some very rough sea conditions through the Adriatic. That wind on the northern edge of this area of low pressure, that'll continue to swing eastwards during the next 24 hours, bringing some very unsettled weather to the eastern Mediterranean. So there'll be some heavy thundery bursts of rain there, more snow up over the mountains of the Balkans. But where pressure rises up through central parts of Europe, a fair amount of dry, sunny weather, and then we've got these really cold winds coming into the northwest. We'll continue to see some fairly strong winds coming around this area of high pressure Thursday into Friday, but bringing much milder air. A lot of cloud around, some more outbreaks of rain, but temperatures picking up by the end of the week. That's the forecast. Good night.
You get to meet all kinds of different people at work.
Just come to fix the computer, love. Come to fix the phone, love. Do you pan special, anyone?
Coming for a drink? You all right? I can't find my purse anywhere.
People aren't always what they seem.
It's all right, love.
Be on the lookout for walk-in thieves. Crime. Together we'll crack it.
That was a public information film.
Changes this Thursday evening on BBC1. At the earlier time of 7 in Albert Square, a surprise for the DeMarcos.
Aren't you going to introduce me? I'm Justine, Johnny's fiancée.
And time for Ruth and Mark to face facts.
She gets Jessie back. We're never going to see it again.
We're on at 7:30 with the famous family holiday firm that charges £325 extra if you want to take a baby.
Then at 8, Rodney's got a case of writer's block.
There are certain things a writer needs before he can actually start writing. Like a story.
An old flame in 2.4 Children at 8:30.
Still presses all the right buttons.
No!
Hasn't forgotten the old pin number.
Not just that.
It's Thursday night on BBC1.
A film crew had crashed into an active volcano. I thought we were going to suffocate.
You just could not breathe.
Nobody can go in there and come out alive.
In 1992, a Hollywood film crew crashed into an active volcano. No one had ever survived such an accident before. In a 999 special, their incredible rescue story is retold. Escape from Paradise, next Tuesday at 9:35 on BBC1.
Now BBC One joins BBC News 24.
Hello, a very good morning. You're watching BBC News 24. A warm welcome to viewers joining us now on BBC One. These are this morning's headlines at 1:30. Police in Northern Ireland have charged 2 men from County Down with the murders last week of 2 lifelong friends in the village of Points Pass in County Armagh. The killings provoked shock and outrage. The 2 friends, Damien Traynor, a Catholic, and Philip Allen, who was a Protestant, were sharing a drink and planning Mr. Allen's wedding when gunmen burst into the pub and shot them dead. A report by the National Consumer Council warns we can expect more food scares in the future as bacteria grow increasingly resistant to modern medicine. The report blames intensive farming methods and calls for a radical overhaul of farm practices and policies, including the Common Agricultural Policy, to put public health at the heart of the food chain. The Child Support Agency, which was set up to ensure absent parents pay towards the upkeep of their children, has been accused of causing unnecessary hardship and suffering to thousands of people. MPs on the Commons Public Accounts Committee say they're appalled that errors are left unchecked, and they conclude that the process for assessing new cases is riddled with confusion and delay.
The Child Support Agency was failing the very people it set out to help. The mothers, the children, dependent children, even the fathers who have sometimes been forced to pay more than they ought to. There are unacceptable levels of error. 85% of the balances are wrong and continuing high levels of error.
The Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott says a vendetta is being waged against him in his constituency. Mr. Prescott said lies are being spread about him and also about his son's financial affairs.
Oh, they were stealing bins, breaking into the house, all sorts of things that have been going on, but this has been going on for a long time. The only thing that's made it different now is that 2 national newspapers, plus my local paper, decided to make an issue of it, and based, I think, on very improper information.
So it's really a vendetta against you, is it?
Well, it's certainly got all those signs, doesn't it? And the Labour Party.
The Chief Inspector of Prisons has said conditions at a Young Offenders Institute that he walked out of a year ago have improved since his visit. Sir David Ramsbotham said more still needs to be done at Glenparva in Leicestershire, but the work could be hampered by a lack of money. 3 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli soldiers at an army checkpoint near the West Bank town of Hebron. Palestinian doctors said several other people were injured in the shooting. The former Chilean dictator, General Augusto Pinochet, has resigned as Commander-in-Chief of the army after 25 years in the post. But he's to continue in public office as a senator for life, a post that gives him immunity from investigations into human rights abuses during his period in power. Thousands of people were killed or disappeared at the hands of General Pinochet's security forces during his 17-year dictatorship.
Augusto Pinochet was the most feared symbol of Latin American military dictatorship. Today, Chile honored him. The country now enjoys a democracy of sorts. So the elected president, Eduardo Frei, not altogether comfortable, oversaw the formalities. There was an exchange of swords, patriotic pledges, and then Pinochet was the ex-commander-in-chief. He said he'd saved Chile from self-destruction. There were tears, but not of regret for the 3,000 opponents murdered by his regime, simply of gratitude for the support of his wife. This retirement ceremony doesn't mean the end of Pinochet's public role. Soon he'll be appointed senator for life. For him, that means complete legal immunity. For many Chileans, it represents a stain on their democracy.